I didn't know Goofy was dead.
Oh, he's not. We don't want to alarm you. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Gee, you look terrific. Does anything ever go wrong with you? Don't you ever get hurt? You take tremendous beatings. You bounce back.
I'm always getting hurt. I had, we finished shooting last Wednesday, which I had limped through the last 2 weeks, because 3 weeks before that I had to gallop a mule.
Wait a minute. One doesn't gallop a mule, does one?
No, one doesn't gallop a mule, but the scriptwriter thought you did, and so he had me riding in to finish off the heavies across the field on a mule. And I spent about an hour. You know, this is bareback, and it's got a razorback thing on it, this horse. This mule. This mule. And really just ears to grab hold of.
Its own back is rough.
Oh, terribly rough.
Very hard on.
I was speaking falsetto after half an hour. Anyway, I really got the thing going like this. And we came into the shop where I'm supposed to hit the fellow with my right hand and wheel the horse around, the mule, which it didn't. It just bucked me straight in the air. I'm no cowboy. And I went flying, and I landed on my back. That was the end of shooting for the day. And I now have
the mule, probably.
The fourth and fifth vertebrae have gone.
Permanently?
On the mule.
No, wait a minute.
No, I'm all right now.
But your back is, you've pulled your back.
Yeah, my back's okay now. It's just my eyes that are bad.
But was there a great shout when you fell off?
Yeah, hooray, everybody was happy. You know.
Do you do things backwards, too?
Yeah, I'm Erum Rigor.
Wait a minute, Erum Rigor.
Yeah. It's a great name, isn't it?
Yeah. Or Room E, Gorer.
Yeah. Do you know, this is much nicer than the last time, because I was on your show in London.
That's right. Didn't you like that?
Well, I had a feeling I was never coming on.
Why?
Well, you had Jonathan Miller and Enoch Powell.
Oh, you were there in the Powell night. That's right. That was mine.
They kept talking. Well, I thought I'm never going on, so I was having a little at the back. Yeah. And you called me on. I really couldn't walk across that stage.
You did a wonderful job for a man who was on his knees. I thought hardly anybody guessed that you were not just a sort of
I made you look tall.
Semi-graceful, very short man. You were soused.
Slightly.
I didn't know the English drank. I thought it was the Irish.
Well, we usually wait till the sun goes down.
Mm-hmm.
The sun's been down quite a long time now.
If you ever go to the North Pole, you'll be soused for 6 months.
The midnight sun. I've been there. I did a tour of the land of the midnight sun. We started off in a jet to Stockholm. Then we got into a Cessna, and we landed somewhere. And then we got into a helicopter, and we were flying, and I said, you know, it's interesting because the traffic drives the same side as England. And I said, they're on the wrong side, and the pilot said, oh, no, we're over Finland. We're not allowed to fly over the Swedish defenses. And so there we are in red no man's land. And then we landed on a football pitch at midnight. It was bright sunlight. Quite extraordinary.
That would be strange. I was in Sweden, and I could not get used to the light of being so... It's a strange thing that people can come home from work and go sailing after dinner in broad daylight.
Oh, they all paint their houses at midnight.
Yeah.
We had to go from one place where we couldn't go by helicopter, and they had delivered me a Volvo, which was the car I drove in the Saint. Mm-hmm. And they said, the police said, you can take that road, which is a defense road, where normally people are not allowed to drive along, and I'm doing about, I suppose, 90 miles an hour. I'm in a hurry to go, and it's a straight road, but gravel. And I saw a man on a bicycle in front of me, so I started blasting the horn. I had Miss Sweden on my right, and my stunt director behind me, who was saying, slow down, the bicyclist is not going to move. And so I just thought, well, at the last minute, I'll change down. And blasting the horn, and I started to change down when I had about 20 yards to go, and it was a reindeer. Looked like a man on a bicycle, you know, with the things, just walking steadily down the middle of the road.
What had you had to drink that time?
Aquavit, a little Aquavit is very nice.
I've seen a reindeer from every possible angle, and it doesn't resemble a man at all, Roger.
Oh, it does. What have you not been drinking?
Well, anyone who can't tell a man from a reindeer could get into some very serious scrapes.
Yeah, that's true.
You seem perfect.
Are you proposing or something?
No, nothing like that. You just seem perfect. I mean, I don't know you're what every young man, when he gets in front of the mirror and tries to get ready to go out for a date, probably as a kid, wishes he looked like.
Well, I always wanted to look like Veronica Lake, actually.
Really? Well, you're not far off. No, I mean, don't you have a hole in your T-shirt or anything? Isn't there anything there?
A hole in my T-shirt? You must be joking. I don't wear a T-shirt.
Oh.
I just wear skin next to my chest.
Well, see, you're perfect. This, of course, consequently, causes a great number of women to be attracted to you all over the place. How do you handle all these women?
My wife looks after her for me. She is She's Italian.
Your wife's Italian?
Yeah.
Then you have no problem at all.
I have no problem whatsoever.
Do you have any problems because of the show, The Saint? Did you ever... it's silly to say, did any saints ever complain, but you know what I mean.
No, nearly.
Nearly?
Nearly. My daughter started convent school a couple of years, or 3 years ago.
Uh-huh.
And at that time, as I mentioned before, I used to drive. Now I drive an Aston Martin, so it's all right, so I can mention Volvo. And I on early days, could go to the school and pick her up. And the big girls' class was by the gates of the school. And 16-year-olds, and one of the daughters took shorthand of one of the writers in the studio who was in the big girls' class. It was a long way of getting around to it. But anyway, the Mother Superior was taking the class that particular afternoon when I drove in. And all the girls were trying to look out of the window, you know, because an actor's coming in and they recognize the car. And she said, although Mr. Moore in person may have a more pleasing aspect than that which he portrays on the cinematographic screen, he is not a saint. And until His Holiness, in all his wisdom in Rome, sees fit to canonize him, he will remain seated while he comes into the school. I took my daughter out of that school, I don't know.
You want her talking like that? That's a lovely sentence.
Yeah, it's a
didn't
hell of a sentence to remember.
Yeah, you didn't feel put down by that at all?
No, because the next sort of end of term day, I signed autographs for the nuns.
Yeah.
Which surprised me, you know. I never thought it was awful. I was at Warner Brothers doing Maverick or the Alaskans.
Mm-hmm.
And we had some visitors on the set one day, and I was standing with my back to everybody behind by the side of the camera, delivering offstage lines. And I goofed a line, which I normally do. And I was so angry, having goofed it to the actor I was feeding with the line, that I let out 2 short blasphemous words.
Blasphemous words?
Yes, which I won't repeat now. And then I turned, and to my horror, I saw these nuns. There were 24 of them. And so afterwards, I was taken over and introduced them, and I apologized. I said, you must forgive me for my language. I'm terribly sorry. And they said, it's all right, my son. We're sorry for you. And afterwards, I played the saint. It's marvelous, isn't it?
How old were you during the war? Can you remember it?
I was either 11 or 12 when it started, and I was in the army when it finished.
Oh, then you clearly
I remember it all right.
Were you bombed during the war?
Well, we ever.
But can you remember close shaves?
We had bombs. We spent all the blitzes living in an Anderson shelter in the garden. It was called an Anderson shelter after the man who designed it, which was sort of 2 nasty pieces of corrugated iron like that with a hole in and covered up with earth. And my mother, father, and I, and our dog used to get in it. It was awful.
How deep down was it?
Oh, it was only sort of covered by about 3 feet of earth. Mm-hmm. If you got a direct hit, you'd had it.
Yeah.
But incendiary bombs could drop on it, and you wouldn't feel anything. Just get a little warm, that's all.
Yeah.
Well, those buzz bombs.
Yeah, did you see those V2s go over?
Oh, yes. When the buzz bombs were going, I was working as a cartoonist then, an animated cartoonist, in Wardour Street, yeah. And we used to have what we called bomb spotters. And it was always somebody's turn on the road to get up on the roof and say, blow a whistle if the bomb is coming. And I saw one coming, and I got so frightened I dropped the whistle.
Did those things go over so that you could see them go?
Oh, yes.
It's funny, I was just thinking, I had Werner von Braun here one night in that same chair who designed them.
I wish I'd had him here tonight.
But I have a picture from a movie I saw. Could you see them go, traveling?
Oh, yes.
They travel at a speed you could watch them, or was it shoom?
Oh, no, they move very slowly. These were the V1s. The V2s were the rockets that just sort of, boom, and you heard it coming after it arrived.
Why wasn't it easy to shoot them down if they traveled slowly?
Oh, they used to shoot them down. They used to shoot some of them down.
But enough got through.
But they used to sneak through. They were nasty. It was a lousy way of fighting a war.
And you weren't scared as a kid?
No,
Did it seem exciting or in any sense fun? I know that sounds silly, but...
No, it was a sense of adventure. You didn't have any gas or any water or electricity. You know, you'd have things like it. It was like camping out. Mm-hmm. But you don't have a fear. When you're living amongst it, it seems a normal way of life, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But it's going on today, you know. This is the awful thing. The whole world is full of it.
What used to get me were stories of people in California who saw planes shot down, but it wouldn't appear in the paper. You know, they'd see it, or the Japanese plane would get in close.
Really? They used to get
There
that?
are a few of those, yeah.
Those planes had to be kamikaze because they couldn't obviously get from those days from Japan to America and do the return trip.